Today, I thought we would do something a little bit different from our videos in the past. I thought we could learn some vocabulary by going on a virtual field trip, so to speak. To do that, I'm going to share screens with you, and we're going to investigate the vocabulary connected to a beach near where I live. So in this first picture, here's a little sign that says the beach, actually the word playa, which is beach in Spanish. That's where I was. But the first couple of words I thought we could examine is connected to what we see here in the distance of this picture. So this area back here is commonly referred to as the beach, but it can also be referred to as the shore. So two words really, they mean basically the same thing. One is a little bit more popular when talking about going to visit the area near the ocean to relax. People often say, I'm going to the beach, but you could say, I'm going to the shore. Now, the words shore and beach mean the portion of land along a sea, lake, a large body of water. So really, this is both the shore and the beach. Interestingly, now that I talk about this out loud, I realize that when people are on land and they're going to this location, this edge of the water, they often say they're going to the beach. However, when they're on the ocean and they're looking at this same edge of land, now they will say, I see the shore. Now, that's not an exact rule. It's not always that way. However, frequently, when on the land, talking about this location, they say beach. And when out in the ocean, talking about this location, they say the shore. All right, well, let's move on to the next part. Yes, a short video. So as you look at this video, in the distance, we see large waves, but up close, we see these very small waves. And we would typically use the word ripple to describe these small waves. A ripple is when a small up and down movement is in something, a small up and down movement. So certainly in the case of these very small waves, we would use the word ripple. I want to talk about this light that you see in the video here. So there's the light in the waves. So if we go to this picture here, so you see the light, how it almost looks like little stars on the ocean. So the word we use to describe this effect is glistening. The water is glistening, or we might even say the water is sparkling, glistening or sparkling. Both of these words, glistening, sparkling, they can also be used to describe stars at night. The stars are sparkling. I can see a star glistening in the night sky, and that's fine. However, we don't use the word twinkling for the ocean. We can use the word twinkling for stars. Stars twinkle, but we don't say that the ocean twinkles. The ocean sparkles, the ocean glistens, but we don't say that it twinkles. Okay, of course, we saw a little fishing boat there. Individuals enjoying some time fishing out on the ocean. Now, I want to comment on this portion of the beach and shore because we learn a couple of words that you'll hear a lot from English speakers when they go to the beach, and that is the expression, the tide. You might hear expressions like the tide is coming in, tide is going out, but this word tide really means the rising of the ocean, the rising of the sea, and then the falling of the sea. And high tide is when the water covers most of the shore. So here's the ocean right here. The tide is the water that is moving towards the shore. And high tide is when this area right here, the shore, is all covered by water. So at night, this water will reach up to here where these stones are. That is high tide. Now, when the water goes back out and the shore is visible, more beach can be walked on, that is low tide. And I'm no expert on the ocean, but usually each day there is an hour, there's a time of day where the water is, the ocean is progressively going towards the ocean and more shore, more beach is visible. We would say the tide is going out, and then the reverse is when the tide is coming in and all of the water is getting closer. So that's those expressions: tide, high tide, low tide, shore, and beach. Yes, of course, this is my thumb because I am not a photographer. I don't excel at that aspect. But if we zoom in here, so the other pictures that we just looked at, I was over here in the background of the picture, but then I walked all along these houses here. There was a sidewalk or a walkway, and then I came all the way over to this area. And what we see here is what might be frequently called the marsh, or sometimes the word marshland, marshland. They both sound natural in English, and they mean the same thing. That is the area of land that is frequently flooded. It can even get flooded every day when the water comes in, when the tide comes in. So perhaps at night, this whole area might be covered by the ocean water. And then as the tide goes out, the marshland or the marsh becomes visible. Typically, it's difficult to walk in a marshland, very muddy, and people will sink into the marshland. In some parts of the world, that can be very dangerous. I don't know about this part here in Mexico, but in other parts of the world, such as Alaska, marshlands can be dangerous. Okay, and then just one last vocabulary word that I wanted to tell you about today. So while I was down there, I saw this little squirrel, and you can see him here with his chip. And we would say that he is nibbling on the chip. He is nibbling. You could say he is eating the chip, and that is correct. The word nibbling just means taking very small bites. So because he's a squirrel and he has a little mouth, he takes very little bites. So he would be nibbling. He is nibbling on the chip. And humans can nibble on things as well. All right. Well, this was a little bit different than the usual videos that I post, but I hope you learned some things, and I hope you enjoyed this short virtual trip to the beach.